AITA for exposing my husband's affair with his girl best friend at a family BBQ after his dad told me to move on. When I got married 5 years ago, I thought I had found the man I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Jack and I had a great relationship, or so I thought. But there was one thing that always bothered me from the very start: his best friend, Megan. She had been in his life since they were kids, and even though I never felt right about how close they were, I convinced myself to trust Jack. He reassured me that Megan was practically a sister to him, and I didn't want to seem insecure or controlling. But over the years, her constant presence in our lives chipped away at my peace of mind. Megan was always there. She was at our house so often that it felt like she practically lived with us. She and Jack texted nonstop, sometimes late into the night. If we went on family vacations, she was right there with us, like some kind of third wheel in our marriage. Every time I brought up how uncomfortable their closeness made me feel, Jack would wave it off. He'd tell me I was overreacting, that Megan was like family, and that there was nothing to worry about. I tried to believe him, but it wasn't easy. My mother-in-law was amazing throughout all of this. She saw how much the situation bothered me and encouraged me to talk to Jack about setting boundaries. On the other hand, my father-in-law had a completely different attitude. He adored Megan, treated her like a daughter, and always made me feel like I was in the wrong for having any issues with her. He once told me I just needed to get over it because Megan was always going to be part of the family, whether I liked it or not. It hurt, but I tried to ignore it for the sake of my marriage. Everything changed about 2 months ago. Jack started acting weird, coming home late, being secretive with his phone, and just feeling distant. I could sense that something wasn't right, and the gut feeling I had about Megan began to grow stronger. One night while Jack was in the shower, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed his phone and went through his messages. What I found shattered me into pieces. Jack and Megan had been having an affair for months. I felt sick to my stomach. All the trust I had placed in him, all the times I brushed off my concerns, all the arguments we had about their relationship, it all came crashing down. I confronted Jack as soon as he came out of the shower, and he admitted everything. He didn't even try to deny it. He apologized, said it was a mistake, and begged me not to leave him. He told me he loved me, that it was just a stupid fling, and that he wanted to fix things between us. But I couldn't even speak. I was so numb and heartbroken that I just stayed quiet. A couple of weeks later, my in-laws hosted a big family BBQ. Jack convinced me to go, saying we needed to keep up appearances while we worked on our marriage. I wasn't ready, but I went, feeling broken inside. I knew Megan would be there, and I wasn't sure how I was going to handle seeing her. Sure enough, she showed up, acting like nothing had happened. She smiled, laughed, and even had the nerve to chat with me like we were old friends. I wanted to scream. During dinner, everything came to a head. My father-in-law, who had always been Megan's biggest supporter, made some offhand comment about how Megan would always be part of the family and that I just needed to get over my insecurities. He said it so casually, in front of everyone, like it was no big deal. That was my breaking point. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I stood up, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "You know what? I would get over it if she wasn't sleeping with my husband." The entire table went silent. Megan's face turned white, and Jack jumped up, trying to calm me down, but I wasn't having it. I laid it all out for everyone to hear. I told them about the affair, the sneaking around, the lies, everything. I was done protecting their little secret. My mother-in-law was furious, but not at me. She was livid at Jack and Megan. She tore into them, saying they had destroyed our marriage and disrespected me in the worst way. My father-in-law, however, wasn't as sympathetic. He had the audacity to tell me I was overreacting, that affairs happen, and that I shouldn't have aired our dirty laundry in front of the whole family. He even defended Megan, saying she had made a mistake and that we should all move on. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I left the BBQ right then and there and have been staying with my mom ever since. Jack has been calling and texting nonstop, begging me to come home and give him another chance. My mother-in-law has been supportive, but my father-in-law is telling the entire family that I'm the one causing drama and that I'm blowing everything out of proportion. Now here I am, wondering if I did the right thing by exposing the affair in front of everyone. Part of me feels like it was the only way to let out all the pain I had been carrying, but another part of me wonders if I should have kept it private, handled things behind closed doors. Was I wrong for calling them out so publicly? Some of you mentioned that my father-in-law's reaction seemed suspicious. I've always had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, so I decided to ask her if she thought there was anything weird going on with him and Megan. As it turns out, she's been suspicious for years. She told me that my father-in-law had cheated on her 10 times throughout their marriage. And here's the kicker. One of those times was with Megan's mother. That explains why he's so protective of Megan. Now my mother-in-law's done. She told me she's finally ready to leave him, and she's planning to file for divorce. We've been leaning on each other for support, and I'm going to help her in any way I can. She even wants to get into real estate with me, which is something I've been thinking about pursuing. We're both heartbroken, but at least we have each other. As for Jack, I'm done with him too. I'll be contacting a lawyer soon to start the divorce process. And my father-in-law? He's about to find out that my mother-in-law isn't sticking around any longer. I'm glad I trusted my instincts and finally spoke up, even if it took me a while to get here.